price is if it was just a stripped down, no extra stuff kind of car, plus whatever options you added on it. Options might be like extra airbags, CD player, the XFM stereo or whatever it is now, Bluetooth hookup, or I don't know, Bluetooth is that old now too. That's still around.
Got that Apple CarPlay.
Right, any kind of hookups like that. Then the destination charge, remember destination charge is what the dealership's gonna charge you for getting the car delivered to them, even though the car might be sitting right there on their lot. Anyway, they're gonna charge you that. Used to be destination charge, I think in our book, most of the destination charges were like $500 or $600. Then when we looked them up online, they were mostly like $1,500 or something now. So that's the first formula. Next one, dealer's cost. This is probably the hardest one. I didn't mean to do that. Dealer's cost, the percent of the base price, plus the percent of the options price, plus the destinations charge. So you can figure out how much the dealer actually is paying for the car. This one you gotta take the percent times the base price, so it'll tell you like the dealer's cost is 85%, so you take 0.85 times the base price, and that tells you how much the dealer actually paid. And then the percent options, dealer might pay like 90% for the options, and they make a 10% bump up. And then again, the destination charge, that's what they get charged from the manufacturer.
Pardon me, teachers for the direction. At this time, the calculus students going on the field trip, please come down to the commons. Thank you.
So remember with this, ignore that, but it's the percent times the base price. And this one here is a percent times the options, the total option price. They'll tell you the percent, it might be 85%, 90%, 87%, whatever. And then you just add those three up, and that'll tell you how much the dealer actually paid for the car. How many dealers, when we talked about this, how many dealers are going to tell you actually how much they paid for the car? None. But there's a lot of stuff online now where they'll tell you what a dealership pays for a car from Ford or GM or Chrysler or wherever it's coming from.
China.
Yeah, or one of the Kia or somewhere like that. Next one.
Look, everything else comes from China. Parts wise. It's something more to look at.
I was gonna say, there's a lot of German cars.
Yeah. Jersey.
Tyler, you don't need none of this?
I do.
Nasty curve. A lot of like Ford, like Chevy.
I can't remember what cars are made in China. There are some.
I think they might make some Chevys in China.
After the 2018 steel tariffs, a lot of production in China really went to manufacturing back to the United
Oh,
States.
not the pin.
I think
Dropped it in a
what
land.
Kias are made in like Korea or something, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, platform cars. I love Ford cars.
You're telling me you wouldn't buy a Ferrari?
No. I don't have it.
You wouldn't buy a Toyota Supra? Dang, that's crazy.
I'll make my Mercury fast weeks.
When are we gonna get flying cars?
See Dylan with a 2JZ swap Mercury.
It's been what, like
10
I'll
years,
put
20
turbo on
years if we're
Mercury.
going away?
You might write next to this, this is for used cars. So if you have a used car,
Used and abused.
the average retail price can look up, the average retail value plus any additional options minus any options that it doesn't have. So like if it doesn't have air conditioning, power windows, power steering, whatever, then you're deducting stuff. And if any of these are on the test, then it'll be, there'll be a chart saying, take off this much for no AC, take off this much for this or whatever. And then the mileage deduction, remember the mileage deduction, there'll also be a chart for that. It'll say, all right, if it's got 80,000 miles on it, take off this much. If it's got 100,000 miles on it, take off this much. 200,000 miles, take off this much, so on, so on, so on. And then that'll give you the average retail price. When we were dealing with this, we went to a couple different ones. You could go to Edmunds. It's an online price. We did all this for those 3 cars and you turned it in and everything. Edmunds, and then Kelly. Those 2 are the 2 main ones online that you can look up how much a used car in your certain areas should be worth.
I'll put Marketplace down too.
I think Marketplace tells you how much it should be worth. It just tells you how much the people want for it, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. But still.
That doesn't help you as far as knowing if you're paying too much or.
Oh, I know. I ain't paying 10 grand for a clapped out Honda Civic, lowered, all bags.
I mean, I would.
With Gucci rims like this.
These 2 were for insurance.
I'd rather pay 10 grand for a Honda Civic clapped out.
So insurance on a car.
You would.
Your annual base premium, remember, is just your liability, and again, most of this will probably come from a chart. Liability, and then they'll tell you like for what it's for, 50,000 / 100,000, so on and so on. You have to look it up on the chart, find that number, write it down. These were pretty easy. We did like 10 or 12 of them together in class in like 15 minutes, just looking at that chart. Collision premium, remember liability is just to cover you hitting somebody else. It covers their property, their bodily injury, all that stuff. Collision covers the car that you're driving or the vehicle that you're driving. Comprehensive also covers both. Once you get that answer, the annual base premium, to find your actual premium for the whole year, you take that number times your driver rating. Remember the driver rating, what's the best driver rating?
No accident.
1.
Me.
Right, so 1. 1 is the best driver rating, so it'd be like 1.00. And because you times that by your annual base premium, and it's just going to give the base premium. Most of you, even though you may not have been in any wrecks or accidents or anything else, your driver rating's not 1 because of your age. I bet it's not.
I'm track star, man.
So your driver rating's probably somewhere 2 something, maybe if you got real bad,
A lot of tickets.
a lot of stuff, anything, then your driver rating's probably higher than that.
When can you be number 1 if you don't wreck like 20 years?
Yeah, just, I'm not even sure what my driver rating is right now, but I take that back, I was in an accident about, it's been 10 or 15 years now. I was in an accident because it was snowing real bad. The car slid off, started sliding, going down the road, and another car hit me, but it was my fault because I was sliding.
Yeah. That's your fault. You should have sent it through the ditch.
Now, the bad thing was, and I was sort of upset, because I slid off the road and I steered the car, my car, because I seen the other car coming.
Teachers, pardon the interruption with L.A. Jackson Dordery. Please come to the office.
And the other guy could have done the same thing on the other side and we wouldn't have hit each other.
But he didn't.
And he just came right at me
He
instead
just
of.
came straight at you.
Instead of,
Because you're on the other side of the road.
yeah.
Makes sense.
So, I mean, I couldn't blame him so much, but I'm just thinking, you know what, you could have saved us both a lot of money and time and everything if you would have.
But if he starts
if you
steering
would've-
left, he might have went to the left side of the ditch.
Now, he would have hit a big, because it was, the snow was drifted up on both sides of the road. So there wasn't really anywhere to go, but he would have went into the snow.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have smashed up my car, didn't hurt his car at all, smashed the heck out of mine, because my car was sitting sideways and it hit.
Yeah.
Depreciation of a car, again, this is for vehicles. Purchase price minus what it's worth today, divided by the number of years that you're owned. So this is, and this probably should say actual, or should say annual depreciation instead of just depreciation. Cost per mile, how much does it cost you to drive your car per mile? We talked quite a bit about that. If you're putting a whole lot of money into your car, you know, it might make more sense to get something that you're not putting so much money into it. So, you know, if you're fixing the car, which every couple of weeks or something, then it might make more sense to go ahead and have a car payment for a couple $100 a month instead of putting money into something that's
But you might.
fixing all the time.
Payments on something and stuff.
That might be true. So I'm about to that point with the van. I was,
I'll buy it off of
it had to spend $160 on a starter for it. That was really pushing it, how much money I actually wanna keep spending on it.
you. Just, you don't need a stroller. A stroller. Put you at 5 speed in it, drop the clutch downhill. Fire right up. She probably straight pipe now.
No, I fixed it. Sort of fixed it. I'm still here a little bit. Lease a car. What's your total lease cost, number of payments, amount of each payment, that's what we were just looking at, plus any deposit. Some of those that we looked at didn't have any deposit, so that was a good thing, if that's the case. Any title fees, license fees, it could be any kind of fees. I think on the ones that we looked at just a second ago, it just said fees, taxes and fees or something, right? So it had it all bunched into one thing. It's like $109 for that one that we were just looking at. And you notice too, that's probably not everything, that's everything that this book covers, but they're gonna add in insurance, they're gonna make you pay for insurance on the car through them. They're not gonna let you drive their car off the lot without knowing that it's insured. Stuff like my insurance, if I rent or lease a car, my insurance has that built into it. Even then, the car dealer is probably gonna make me pay some kind of insurance fee. And again, with a lease, there's two different kinds of leases. One's an open end, one's a closed end. Closed end, you lease it for whatever the term is, then you just turn the car back into them. Open end, at the end of the lease, you got a choice to buy the car at a certain, whatever certain price, and that price is usually decided before the lease even starts. So they'll tell you, hey, at the end of this, you can buy this car for $12,000 or something.
Might be a good deal,
Might, and cost per mile, total cost divided by the number of miles. I think we already wrote that down, but sort of. So whatever the total cost is, this is where Dylan was asking, is it good to lease? That's where you could figure out how much does this lease actually cost you and figure out your cost per mile for that, and then figure out your cost per mile for whatever vehicle you're actually driving at this point, and see if a lease is better than buying a new car or buying your own car, whatever.
I'll tell you about leasing, I have to worry about oil changes and all that, and
Usually, and that's something, again, you need to make sure in contract, because they may say you have to bring it back to the dealership for the oil change and then charge you for the oil change also.
well, if it's free, like.
Right, if it's free, then
like,
that's a
if
good
you-
thing.
You ain't wearing your own car out, just like after 10 years, it's gonna be worn out, and worn out and shit. That's why people lease stuff, local. They don't have to worry about it. Get rid of it.
Yeah, that was last one. So again, next class test, over chapter 9. Got the review packet laying here somewhere, just gotta find it.
Next. I'll make sure I don't show up.
Oh, yeah, you wanna go straight?
Oh, yeah, the other paper that you just did, you turn them in the tray up there, so make sure your name's on them, turn them in the tray.
What papers?
The lease and rental paper. That's about Once you pick up, once you grab, make sure you grab that review packet. Once you, it goes in the tray. This is. Oh. It's laying here. Once you pick up this on the review packet, problem number 56, mark out problem number 56. I stuck it on there and it should need to be on there. So it's the very last problem, just mark it out.
We got 50 questions. Extra credit.
55.
56, mark off.
Yeah, maybe what I'll do, since I wasn't here that day, whatever questions you get answered, I'll figure out a way, and however many questions you answer,
What percentage?
I'll add a certain percentage to your test grade.
So if you get 2
Right.
out of.
So if you only answer 2, probably not gonna be a very much added to it. If you do 50, then probably be a little higher than just.
What about 0.5 per one problem done?
Half point per problem? No way.
Half a
That's like
point per
25.
Yeah, that's like 25 points.
I
mean,
might
that could
go
be-
quarter,
Point
0.25 per problem maybe.
Per problem.
That sounds reasonable.
That's point.
So if you did all 50, at a quarter point per thing, or if you did more than 50, you did all 55, you could end up with, what, about 13 percentage points?
Yeah.
Roughly for
0.25 times 55 is 13.75.
So I'd probably round that up to 14 points. So if you do them all,
You get
I'll
14.
probably go that route.
14 points ain't gonna do much. Well.
You'd be surprised.
Like 3 homeworks?
14 points, no, added to your test score.
Well, yeah, but like how many
So if you
homeworks?
score,
Say you score a 99, you get 113%
Right.
on a test.
I mean, how many homeworks is that though?
That I can't say because it depends on how many homeworks we have and how it's all averaged together and stuff. It
That's
doesn't-
all average.
Doesn't work out just where you can say, oh yeah, it's like comparing apples and oranges.
Well, I thought you just get a completion grade for it.
It's like, on the homework you do.
That's what I said, was completion. But